Alright, this video is going to be full of spoilers, so if you are not interested in that, don't watch it, but like also watch it, or like go watch Passing, and then come back and watch this video. Alright, let's get into it. What's up, y'all? It's your girl Serena Marie. I have a cold or the flu. Let me not exert so much energy. I'm sick and I thought it'd be the perfect day to sit in bed and read and watch movies. Fortunately for me, Passing just came out on Netflix and I just finished the book. So I decided I would do a little comparison of the two. Let's start with a little explanation of the book. Passing was written by Nella Larson. I have a combination book, so it's Passing and Quicksand, which are her only two novels in the same book, so it looks a bit bigger than it actually is, but Passing itself is only 100 pages, so it's a pretty quick read. It took me a while because I'm reading 3 books at the same time. That's another story for another day. But I'll go ahead and read the back of the book. In Passing, two childhood friends, young light-skinned black women Claire and Irene, meet again years later. By now, Claire is married to a white man and must live her life passing as a white woman. Irene identifies as black and passes only when she needs to. Their lives intertwine in a heartbreaking tale of racism and the reality of life for middle-class African Americans in the 1920s. So this is like a period piece. The film is a period piece. I enjoyed this book. I really enjoy stories like this, and it was really short. I love reading about the black experience. And so reading about this, like I said, I just finished it, so I'm processing everything that has happened. I knew that Tessa Thompson would be starring in it. Let me look up the other actress's name. So Tessa Thompson and Ruth Negga, I believe is how you pronounce it, are starring in this film. I already knew that, so I kind of was picturing them as I was reading it, and I think it helped. Tessa is playing Irene, who is the main character. She grew up in Chicago, I believe, with Claire. Claire's, I think both of Claire's parents passed away, and one of them was white, and so that side of the family ended up taking her in, and after that, she was kind of forced to pass as white from a young age. There were rumors around town that she was passing as white. She was seen with white people a lot as she got older. I think she ended up moving to the north side of Chicago. And so there were rumors within her old friend group that she was passing, but no one had seen her since childhood. So Irene and Claire run into each other one day, I think in Chicago, at a restaurant. In that moment, Irene was also passing because she wanted to sit at this rooftop bar and have a cup of tea. And Claire walks up to her and they reconnect. For the entire book, it seems that Irene is really debating between, like, trying to manage her feelings about Claire passing. She meets Claire's husband, who is a white man who hates black people, and it causes so much anger in her that she does not want to reconnect with Claire. She doesn't want to be a part of this lie, but Claire keeps pushing toward rekindling this friendship. I believe they live in New York now. I could be making this up. They've moved to New York and doing all of these things, trying to like have a friendship. If I didn't say this was going to be spoilers, there are spoilers. So in the book, Claire's husband sees Irene out with, I believe, her housekeeper, who is a black woman, and puts the pieces together that Irene is black, and because Claire had this black woman all up in her house, she's like, okay, you must be black too. Irene is concerned about Claire's husband finding out and doesn't know what to do. But they're all hanging out one day. Claire and Irene's husband are all together, and Claire's husband shows up. This is at like a black function, like this is with their black friends. Claire's husband finds out, and he shows up and is angry and is spewing the N-word at everybody. And at that moment, Claire is sitting out of a window smoking a cigarette, and they don't make it very clear what happens, but Claire dies. In Irene's thought process, because she's kind of like the brain in the book, like the book is in her mind, she doesn't name if she pushed her out of the window, if Claire fainted and fell out of the window, or if Claire's husband pushed her out of the window. But that's where it ends. Everyone's sitting outside surrounding Claire, realizing she's dead. And so earlier in the book, it kind of talks about how Irene wants to resolve the feelings, like wants to resolve what she's experiencing, trying to keep this secret, and what Claire's death might do to relieve this stress. Not to say that Irene murdered her intentionally, but it was a thought that passed her mind. Maybe Claire is the murderer. Like I said, this was a quick read and I really enjoyed it. I'm definitely going to read Quicksand, which is the author's other book. She only wrote 2 novels before she passed away. But along with that, I'm also reading The Vanishing Half, which is also about 2 black women, sisters. One is passing as white while the other is living her life as a black woman. So just on brand, on theme with that. But before that, you can come back for another video to see that book review. I want to talk a little bit about the movie Passing before I watch it today. I think it was released on Netflix today, so we're gonna watch that. Like I said, it's starring Tessa Thompson and Ruth Negga. I think it's interesting. So this idea of passing is something that I've heard a lot about, being African American, and it's typically what I imagine passing was a black person who was fully black but was light-skinned enough to pass or present as white. In the film, both main actors are biracial. Tessa Thompson I don't think is white though. Tessa Thompson is black and Hispanic, if I'm not mistaken, so I think that's an interesting choice, but it's acting, so whatever. Okay, so Tessa Thompson is Afro-Panamanian on her father's side, and then her mom is half Mexican and half white. So technically she is a quarter white. Ruth is Ethiopian and Irish. Oh, she was born in Ethiopia. I've been to Ethiopia. I feel a connection. She was born in the main city, in Addis Ababa. I always pronounce that incorrectly. I'm excited to be seeing these 2 women act together. I'm sure I've seen Ruth in other things, but I can't put my finger on anything right now. What really got me as I was looking into this movie is the director. So this film was directed by Rebecca Hall. Sorry, I'm looking at my computer as I'm saying all these things. This film was produced by Rebecca Hall, who is a white British woman. I need to do some research. You'll recognize her face. I was a little disappointed when I first found that out, but after doing some research, I realized Rebecca felt connected to this film because her mom was white passing. Rebecca's mom was raised in Detroit, half white, half black, and moved to the UK, I think to be with Rebecca's father. They met each other, fell in love, had a kid. I don't know exactly. But so Rebecca felt connected to this film after finding out that her mom was passing. Which again, in thinking about the 1-drop rule, if you are a white presenting person, this is a whole conversation for another day. But being white presenting or white passing and being biracial, obviously this is not a conversation for me to have 2 cents in exactly, but I'm very curious about this idea of passing. Anyway, back to Rebecca. So her finding out that she had black ancestry is what really drew her to this film. And I think that made me respect her as being the director and screenwriter for this film a little more, because she has not necessarily firsthand experience in passing, but has family connection to it. So I really respect her diving into this and exploring her family history with it and feeling connected to this book more so than I can as a Black person. Like, I have never experienced passing, no one in my family has, and so it's very interesting. So we are gonna watch this film. Do I have any other thoughts? I think that's it. Like I said, I'm sick, so I don't know if anything is coherent. But I'm gonna watch and review the film, and there will probably be spoilers for that too. So let's get into it. The movie is shot in black and white, which I think, it is a period piece, but I feel like black and white films about this topic can help imagine that the person is white or able to pass. Because when I look at Tessa Thompson, I don't see a white woman. And so, I don't know, maybe it helps, who knows. It's an hour and 40 minutes. So, I wrote notes. Give me 1 second. So first, the movie. Did I like it? So it has an 88% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I use Rotten Tomatoes. I know a lot of people prefer Metacritic, whatever. I would give it a 7. It's for a very patient film lover, for sure. The way that it's directed, there's a lot of still moments, a lot of time. I don't know how to describe it. But overall, I think it was really well done. I think it was beautiful, and I'm definitely going to, most likely, read the book and watch the movie a second time. Something that I really loved that I forgot to say in the book and was repeated in the film was the conversations with children about race. So the main character, Irene, has 2 sons, and the father really wants to prepare them for what the world in the 20s is like, about lynching, about racism, about people using the N-word. And Irene is not for that. So that's something that comes up in the book and dives a little deeper. They dive a little deeper into that in the film. Something else that I was thinking about the book is that they don't give a lot of context to who these characters really are. It's very much this moment in time. So I was wanting a little more background information, a little more world building for the characters, which we got a little bit of, just slightly more of that in the film. So that was great too. So like I was saying about the book earlier, in the book it seems like Irene doesn't want to maintain a relationship with Claire because she's so proud to be Black. She's having a lot of internal strife with having to hide her Blackness when in friendship with Claire, and not wanting to do that. In the movie it seems like that comes up, but more so she doesn't want to maintain this friendship because the relationship that her husband and Claire are developing, and it seems very she's not for it. She's a bit jealous, a lot of anger around that relationship. So yeah, Claire's presence is really impacting her marriage more than anything, which I thought was interesting. Also, knowing how the book ends and expecting the film to end the same, I realized there's some would you call them Easter eggs? Some hints at what will happen that I didn't quite notice while reading the book because I didn't know the end. So the way that Irene kind of infers or insinuates things breaking a lot in the film and the impact that break can have on people. And so it kind of makes the end make sense a bit. So not a well-crafted review of the book or the movie, just my thoughts, me thinking out loud about my experience reading and watching and processing these two things. I'm really glad I was able to read it before the film came out, and like I said, I'll probably be reading and watching both a second time. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you're interested in more videos like this, click here. And YouTube thinks you'll really like this one, so go ahead and check that out. And don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.